What do you... Kill me, Smalls. I swear. All right. How is it going, YouTube and Twitch? Well, maybe just YouTube. I'm not seeing anyone on Twitch right now. That's okay. I definitely got a super late start today. Went and saw Sheep Detective, which was kind of awesome. It was really cute. I took my parents to go see that. Anyway, late night. Don't plan on getting a lot done, so I'm just going to be tinkering a little bit. I did get a lot of my code base cleaned up a little. I don't know if I'm 100% satisfied with the project organization, but in my source directory, I basically have broken the game into a couple of layers. One of the layers being game, another layer being UI, and then inside... Oh, hey Yuri, how's it going? I am very slowly, but hopefully surely, working on a video game. Probably not going to get a lot of progress done tonight since it's kind of late for me. I can at least show you where things are at. I think I need to build first. I'm using relatively modern C++ to do this. That's built in release. So I should be... Oh. Does that show up for you? Actually, I might even have a controller that works with it. Give it a second to connect. Yeah. So this is the gist. I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure exactly what this game is going to be yet. So I can start to fly this aircraft. As you can see, I am flying the blue triangle in the center. I gave it some acceleration. Has a very slow turn rate. That is by design. But I am thinking I'm going to make this into some kind of roguelite, top-down aircraft, maybe RPG elements to it, right? I mean, roguelite, with the option to basically attack enemies, And I don't plan on making this realistic per se, so it's definitely going to have like, I don't want to say fantasy elements to it, but like I'm going to shoot a missile, but you could also kind of picture it as being like casting a spell, if you will. I'm thinking there will be a couple of different aircraft classes to this, a like a bomber style class, a fighter style, maybe a swarm of drones, if you will. Um, what was the other one? Oh, the other one was going to be like a stealth attacker, so you're able to like sneak by through different enemies. So I'm planning on like developing a scenario of combat that you have to fight through, defeat enemies, upgrade, collect resources, that kind of thing. Very vague because in my mind it's still pretty vague as well. So we'll see. That's kind of where things are at. And one of the things I want to look at is right here, this gap. I don't want to render a tick mark or a label when it passes through this gap. And I think I'm running into different coordinate systems here, which is making it kind of difficult to figure out. So when actually, you know what would help? If I start the game again, its default 30 degrees is right in the middle of this gap. So that's the one I need to be invisible. So I need to figure out the math. I tried to, and I failed miserably because I'm not 100% sure what what coordinate system Raylib is using for rendering angles. Because I think, assuming Raylib is 0 degrees along the positive x-axis, but my game has 0 degrees along the negative y-axis because Raylib is negative y is up. So I'm thinking I'm going to need that 90-degree shift, which I'm already doing here. And I'm wondering if I'm going to need to apply that here. So let's take a look at what the state of the application is actually doing. Hey, Joe. I don't know about a hot streamer, but I do got some water. All right. Let's get some debugging going. Oh. Did that not launch? Uh-oh. Try this one. I might know what's going on. It might be failing to load my input files. I can't even debug my application. This is crap. The heck? What is going on? This is working like 2 days ago. Probably because I changed Now I load these files. It's expecting Briarthorn to be in whichever directory I am running it from. I don't know what directory. VS Code. Debug app. Hang on. Hey. Stop, dude. We're not going to do this. My cat is already tearing up my rug. Because he's a twerp. Don't let him fool you otherwise. Okay, so it is running it from my app directory. And almost assuredly, my app directory does not have the config files. Oh, what do I do? I can debug from my install directory. But it doesn't have my PDB files. When I run an install, I could always use CMake to generate a hard-coded path and feed it into my application. I could feed it in on the command line. So I could default it to a known location. Provide a command line argument to accept the input files. I wish I had C++ 26 standard embed, or not standard, but just the embed ability, because that'd be cool to just embed my input files, bake it into the application. Wouldn't be cool for rapid prototyping, but still be cool. Hmm. 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 Um, 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 um. I can. Well, I guess before I do anything, let me make sure this would actually solve the problem. I don't even see. Wait, is Briarthorn? Wait, is this stuff even getting installed? Let me delete this. So we have config game UI, but it's not grabbing. Hmm. Oh man. This needs to be like in here. Is that enough to get it and copied over? No. Okay. That's probably a CMake thing, I'm guessing. Except where did I put that? This is annoying as hell. So installing for WebAssembly preloads it from my source directory. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it back. And I'm going to let the AI overlords take the wheel and see what it suggests. I'll have it give me a couple of ideas, and then I will probably just stick with whichever one I like the best. All right, let's see here. When debugging the Briarthorn app, I noticed it is failing to load the briarthorn.toml file. I would have expected this file to exist in my config directory, but it does not. When the application is installed, briarthorn.toml does not follow with, or does not get installed. I want the option, or no, you know what? Let's ask. Let's make it a question. I am curious what options are available to me when debugging. I would prefer to debug from the application's built directory. One option I guess I could do is have some CMake, or set up some CMake variables to basically point the application to where the root Briarthorn toml file is. But I kind of want it to be configurable. Let's see. I prefer to debug from the application's built directory if possible, but I can also debug from the installed path if necessary. I also noticed the inscriptin scripts in CMake list expect the briarthorn.toml file to exist at the source directory. You know, actually, let's make it a plan so I can refine it. Because then I can read what it's trying to do and then fix anything I don't like about it. Dude, Cat, there is no way you are doing this to me this late at night. You hear me? Ain't no way. Hey, what are you doing? Well, if you're gonna do this, come here. Trail. Here, kitty, kitty. Oh, now you're just ignoring me, punk. I was gonna have my cat pay the cat tax. Oh, what are you doing? All right. So right now the toml sits at the repo root and reference game type toml, but the actual files live under config. Move the manifest into config, which is what I want to do. I definitely want it into config. Currently, main CPP uses a bare toml with current working directory relative debug straight out of build. We need a strategy. Yes, I agree. We need a strategy. Resolve relative to the executable's own directory using SDL get base path. Where did it get the idea that I'm using SDL? I'm not. Plus, we might be able to just use standard file system current path, right? Resolve relative to the executable's own directory. CMake then copies symlinks Briarthorn config next to the exe at build time and install ships them next to the exe. CLI argument environment variable defaulting to current working directory. You set current working directory or pass config. Ooh, maybe like that. I don't know about this first one. Default to the current working directory. I want to default to the current working directory, but I want it to use standard file system. Has C. It wants me. Okay, it's recommending C both. Argument overrides. Otherwise, exe relative. Resolve relative to the executable's own directory. Oh, that's different than current working directory. Does Raylib have something like that? Or I don't know if file system. I know you can do this with like Windows. What am I looking for? Yeah, I know about this way, and there's a way to do it on Linux. Reading a file that makes sense. Well, I don't really want to write it myself. I could use Boost DLL if that's so heavyweight. Where am I? A tiny one header library on GitHub. Interesting. Does Raylib support this? I see now why it was recommending SDL. Git application directory. Is that true? Ooh. Get the directory of the running application uses a static string. Ooh. Okay. Git application directory is what we want. Got it. So we can do option C, but use Raylib's git we go with exe relative resolution, build time staging options, CMake add custom post build command that copies a config, the toml and the config next to the exe after each build. I don't like that. No, I don't like that. No. Create symlink. No. Configure file copy it. No, I don't like those. I don't like any of these. Now I'm thinking I use CMake to define a macro that specifies the path of where it's located. That macro gets overridden when the path is installed. That becomes the default directory to be used when loading the config files. That won't work because I'm compiling it in. That really won't work if I ever want to release this game because it'll have hard-coded paths. So it's got to be a relative path. So maybe I just use maybe I only debug the installed version because that's like the configuration that the game would exist on someone else's disk. I don't like these options. Let's just use this for relative pathing and ensure Briarthorn.toml exists in config and gets installed. Today, install directory puts everything in there. All right. Well, I think if I'm going to go with this solution, relative pathing, I just go up a level, look for config, load the file. All right. I don't need this. All right. Thanks, LLM. Just by typing, you helped me rubber duck debug this. No, abort. All right. Yeah, CMake will bake it all in, so it's not gonna be a good long-term solution if I ever want to like put this on someone else's computer. You're right. I also just want to debug right now, so step 1, move this sucker into config. This is relative game UI. That looks good. I also didn't realize Raylib had a git application directory, so that will help too. Const exe path. Actually, it did say this was static, so I think I can call this at static time, right? I think I can. So let's do Briarthorn path is actually standard file system path git application directory. Ooh, does file system doesn't have like a I guess I can do that. Will that work? You know what? I don't know. Let's try it. Must be a constant value. That's fair. Totally fair. Oh, I thought I was using. All right. Let's see if that did anything. Build, debug, installed. All right, so there's the Briarthorn file. That's good. Let's run it. Oh, wait. I need to make sure I run the correct version. I need to run the installed version. Does my PDB file have to be in the same directory? Okay, so this is Briarthorn build, installed bin, go back a level, briarthorn.toml. We step it. It didn't load. Okay. So actually does I wonder if file system has a like resolve. Looks like it does. Okay, okay. Oh, thank you, parent path. I completely forgot about that. That works too. So I go file system path, application directory. I want to go up a level, so that would be my parent path. Now does that give me a result? Ooh. Oh, right. Because this is the path of the. Oh, is the executable included in that? All right, this is becoming verbose. I'll just do it on here. Let's just do. There we go. All right. So it's like a... This is so wordy. I guess it could just literally be dot parent path. Wow. Doesn't cause a format? I guess it fits within the width of Clang format. It's not complaining. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now I can actually debug what I wanted to debug. Jesus. Which was here. Because I want to hide the tick inside the gap of my range text. Dude, what do you want? Come on. I'll be right back. Ridiculous. Okay. So angles start. I want to hide the tick mark that's between the gap and the outer ring, which is between -55 and 295. So I wanted to see what the angle was for tick number 1, not 0. Okay, so tick 1, which should be degree 30. Angle start is negative. So angle -1 is greater than the n, which it's not. Yeah, because I think I have to get it shifted into the like magnetic north coordinate system versus like mathematical where 0 degrees is east. It's like east and the rotation is different because I think it's positive towards y. So first thing I want to do is I know I is 30 degrees. So I think just for debugging purposes, const auto angle degree equals uh oh, it's already doing it for me. All right, I mean if it's going to do it for me, right? Okay, so that should give me 30 degrees. 1 times 360 divided by 12 is 30, so that makes sense. And then I think I need to shift it. And I'm shifting it by subtracting 90, I think. Yeah, we're subtracting 90. I need to turn that into a function. That needs to be a function because I'm going to have to use that all over this code base. All right. So angle degree minus equal. Okay, so that will shift the ticks into heading coordinate system, which is what I am doing to draw the ring gaps, which is negative 55 to 295. Now I need to shift negative 55 and 295 to be 0 to 360. Do I need to do that? Or do I just need to take like the smallest distance? No, distance isn't good enough. I need to know its actual position. Because this guy is from 0 to 360. So what is negative 55? Oh my god. Oh, it's too late to think like this. 0 degrees north, but negative 55 is from the x-axis, so plus. I need a visual. I guess I could just run the game real quick. I don't have the stream set up for me to like draw. Let's run it. Okay. So I need to get that 30-degree tick mark hidden. So negative 55. Actually, I don't even know which one. Because I shifted it back 90. So what is that? Is that 45? Okay, so that's positive 45. That's what it is. So it was positive 45. Let's see, calculator. 45 minus 90. Nope, 35. I can do math. Okay. So 35. And what was the other one? 295? Wait, 295. $295. Because we're adding ring start offset degrees. Okay, right. Yeah, because I wanted it between 35 and 25. So maybe that's all I need to do. Maybe I don't need to do any math. But we're starting at 35 and ending at 25 and then rotating it up 90 degrees. That don't make sense. Unless it's positive. So if the x-axis is 0, you know what? We can visualize this easily. All I have to do is set this to 0. Okay. All right, so that is where it is currently being drawn. That gap is starting at 35 and ending at 25. So yeah, so it must be positive, at least for with how Raylib is drawing. It's positive in clockwise direction, which is actually the same as my heading. So the 90-degree shift is all I need. Do I even... And the only reason I need to do the 90-degree shift is to match the angles on the tick marks, because the angles on the tick marks start at north. So that means if my start angle is 0, I should just add this to the tonal configuration so I don't have to keep recompiling. Well, my assumption was wrong there. So the start angle is 0. The end angle is 25. Oh, because it overlaps. So if I start at 0, and then go over to 25 to end. No, that doesn't make sense. Dang it. How does Raylib do this? Oh, wait. I'm still applying... ring end, ring start. I need to do it here. I need to do it here. Start at 0. End at 25. I would expect this to show up on the x-axis and rotate clockwise. Oh my god. And that's what it does. Starts on the x-axis and rotates clockwise. Okay. But for me to get the gap where I need it, I need to start here and end here. So I need to start at 25 and end at 0. Start at 25 and end at 0. But that won't actually work. Yeah, that doesn't work. Because I think it takes... Start at 25, end at 0. So this 0 is 360. So now it needs to be start at 25, end at 360. So that's kind of the issue there. So if I want it to produce that gap, oh, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Okay. So then if I want nothing to be rendered in this gap, I have to be in the same coordinate system. These tick marks are shifted 90 degrees. So I would have to do... I would just have to... Well, I could add 90. This doesn't really matter. I can either subtract or add. Just depends how I end up rendering this. Because honestly, if you're making like reusable components from an API perspective, the component doesn't have to be aware that the game exists. And if it doesn't know that the game exists, it doesn't know that 0 degrees is up and not to the right. So I can keep drawing as expected. And it just means that if I want it to appear up here, I would need it to be like, let's see, if this is 360 and I want it like up here, I would need it to be what? I would need it to be 300, right? As the end, well, 300, and then I want like let's say I want a 10-degree gap. It would need to be 295. And then my start angle would be 300 plus 5, so 305. We're getting somewhere, I think. My start angle is 305. It does the shortest path. Oh. My start angle is... Or no, did I just do it wrong? Am I dumb? No, my start angle is 305. My end angle is 295. Okay, yeah. So the issue is drawing expects end degrees to always be greater than start degrees. So the other option is what it was doing before, which is go the negative route, which is, let's see, plus. So if this is 360 or 0, okay, so if this is 0 and I subtract 65, so I would be starting at negative 65. No, I want to start here. Maybe I am doing this wrong. If this is 360, and I want to start here, that would be 300. That would be 305. I want to start at 305. I'm not doing it wrong. I'm just being dumb. All right, so negative 55, negative 60, negative 55. Okay, which is basically what I had before. Now it's starting to make a little more sense. I hope. There we go. Okay, so now we're back to where I started. So this is in Raylib draw ring coordinate space where the start angle has to be less than the end angle. It has to be. But these tick marks are 0 to 360. So I need to add, I think I need to add 360 to this and subtract 90 from both angles in order to make this comparison work. So let's just try that by hard coding. Oh, and I need it to be in like angles, or I guess I could do radians as well, but angle is easier to, or degrees is easier to debug. Okay. So And then do I need to adjust the end degrees at all? Because that's a correct angle, right? I think that's a correct angle. I do have to... So I do have to subtract the offset to get these angles into the magnetic heading coordinate system. Okay. So now I can say angle degree, which is 30 degrees, needs to be greater than That's not going to work. I got to do some math. Well, I guess I could do it on... you guys can't see it. Does VS Code have a calculator? Calculate. Last updated 8 years ago. I'm good with that. Last updated 11 months ago. All right, never mind. That's not it. Okay. 0 degrees north would mean that my translation, this would be like a start angle of 35 and an end angle of 25. So do I need to subtract... Do I need to subtract these from 360? Is that what I'm doing wrong? Hang on. 360 minus 295 is 60. Start at 0 degrees. And we're going around. Oh, is it plus 270? Or minus 270? Okay, that might be what it is. So 295 minus 270 is 25. So it's either that or I can do like plus 90. So that's 25, which is what I wanted for the end angle. So the start angle needs to be 35. And the way you get to 35 is 360 plus 55 minus 270. No. Okay, so don't... Oop. This is 295. So it's really, this needs to be 360.0 F minus heading 0 offset degrees. And then this becomes ring start angle, full turn degrees. Okay. That's basically what I was doing. 360 minus 90 is 270. 295 minus 270 should be 25. But I'm being dumb. 295 Is this a am I for is this like a carry the sign issue? I'm it's been so long. I'm tired. Don't don't judge me here. Cuz if you subtract 90 from 360, you get 270. If you subtract 295 or 270 from 295, you should get 25. 360 minus 90. Am I parentheses? I'm being so dumb. Oh my god. Multiplication and division, the parenthesis operations don't matter. Parentheses matter with addition and subtraction, okay? Look, it's almost midnight where I'm at, okay? Don't hate me. I don't need the hate. All right. I know the hate's all in my head. All right. Okay. Don't forget your PEMDAS, kids. I assume everyone knows PEMDAS or some other acronym to describe your order of operations. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. There we go. So now our adjusted end angle is what I expect it to be. Our adjusted start degree is not. Our start degree needs to be 35. So what did I do wrong? Bodmas? Bodmas? Wait. Let me see if I can figure this out. Bodmas. Oh my god, what is Bodmas? Brackets? Is B brackets? What would O be? Brackets? Division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. That makes sense. What is O? What? I assume that's exponents, but exponents starts with an E. Brackets? Yeah, that's... I don't know. That's not something I've ever heard of before. Okay, anyway. I need to convert negative 55 to 35. Okay, so that's, oh, it's I think it's another parenthesis issue. So I need to take all of this and subtract, okay, so 360 minus 2. I'm being so dumb here. Bracket of, oh, wait, bracket of? Division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So what does exponents fall under? Is that just like multiplication? All right. You know what? I have a couple of coordinate systems I am working in. The tick marks are in magnetic north, where 0 degrees is up and 30 degrees is to the right. Draw ring from Raylib always expects the starting angle to be less than the end angle. It also has 0 degrees along the positive x-axis. I need to convert the tick angle or the ring start and end angle to the other coordinate frame so that I can perform an angle comparison. Oh, exponents are not taught. Oh, I mean, that's fair. I didn't actually learn exponents in like elementary school for me. Um, so it was probably one of those things where we were just told to ignore it. So it makes sense. My understanding with like math being taught to newer generations is to like eliminate as much confusion as possible to help kids like get a better understanding of the math they need to know. So that makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Um okay, so what did it come up with? Cuz I'm being all kinds of stupid tonight. I'm so tired. Angle is in magnetic north space, 0 up, clockwise positive. So the angle degree of the tick is that. So that didn't change. Angle in Raylib degree. Okay, so convert magnetic north angle to Raylib screen angle, 0 degrees right, clockwise positive, which is subtract 90. Okay. Normalize. That's what normalize. That's what I needed to click in my head. I needed to normalize. That's what I was getting wrong. Let's see if it actually did it correctly, though. I feel like there's a better way to do this than to loop. I think I call it wrap. I need to, maybe not. Run it. Okay. So this should be, let's, okay, I is 1. The angle is 30. The angle in Raylib is negative 60. Is that right? Yeah, because if you're on the x-axis and you go down 30, you go down 30 degrees, rotated, you are now at negative 60. That makes sense. Okay, so angle in Raylib degree. So angle in Raylib degree is 300. Okay, there we go. So now it's been normalized. Skip ticks that fall in the gap arc outside ring start, ring end. If angle in Raylib degrees is greater than ring end. I mean, that's not good enough, I don't think. Let's see what that looks like. I think we need to account for both start and end. All right, let's do this. Hey, Jan. Oh. Every time. All right, so if this is working, we should see these tick marks disappear. They are not. Okay. Oh, because, okay. Yeah, that's right. The tick marks need to now account for the player heading as well, which is coming in hot. Player heading, radian, negative value heading, player heading. Let's just put that. Actually, no, I only need player heading for the tick marks. Okay, so we are doing that here, but this goes down here. Okay, so we add the player's heading to our tick, because that's where it actually is. So if it's a 30-degree tick at the start, but the player... Wait. No. If the player's heading is 30 degrees, then that tick 30 needs to be subtracted. So this might be minus equal, actually. So if he's at 30-degree heading, subtract to bring it back, which makes it 0. Yeah, I think that's what I need. Okay, so angle degree. Then the other piece of this puzzle is, this is wrong. So we want our angle in Rayleigh degrees is greater than in degrees, or less than start degrees. I think that's right. We could, let's just run it. Where is it? Debug. Son of a biscuit. Oh, it's working, guys. Look. But it's in the bottom right. It clearly did not get the 90-degree shift. But it's working. We're getting there. It's a lot, isn't it, Marcus? It's just like a wall of text. Don't feel bad. It makes my head hurt too, and I've been doing this for over 15 years. It gets better. Okay, so the issue is I need to shift. Oh, I added it to the wrong thing. That's why. Let's try that again. Oh. AI is tough. AI is really tough. I use AI for work. Okay. There's no way around it, right? I mean, there is a way around it, but if you're working for a business that's trying to make money and you can pay, what is GitHub Copilot, like $40 a month now for Pro. If you can pay $40 a month to have your engineer tackle hard to debug problems in a couple of minutes, a few minutes versus a few days, that's tough, right? Um, for me personally, and for a personal project, I have used AI to like generate big chunks of code, like I'm talking multiple files, multiple widgets, multiple UI components, that kind of thing. And if you don't have a hold on your architecture and how you intend to organize your project and how you intend to, let's say, separate data from what is being rendered, the whole separation of concerns, then AI can just be set loose, right? And so, from the perspective of a project contribution, I get it, because it is now so easy. Um, as long as you have even an inkling of an idea of what you're doing, it is so easy to just start spitting out code left and right, right? And as a project maintainer, that would become nearly impossible to maintain, right? You've got real people who have to spend real time code reviewing all of this code that is getting generated that some unknown person may or may not understand the code that they generated, right? And so may or may not be able to have a conversation with the reviewer about why things were done a certain way when the project owner has an idea of how they want to architect their project or run their project. From that perspective, I get it. For a personal project, for a toy project, I mean, you can do whatever the heck you want, right? No one's going to force you to do one way or the other. If you're learning, that's a different story. I still recommend, like anyone, to, you know, try and like build your fundamentals, right? We all have a calculator, but we still know PEMDAS. We still know BODMAS. Well, some of us know BODMAS. Like that doesn't go away. You still need to understand like what's being generated so you have an idea on how to like keep your project maintained. Otherwise, it just gets out of hand. And the more people you have touching the project, the worse it gets. So it's tough. Yeah, that's the thing, right? You still got to have that person who, as a senior developer or project lead or architect, whoever's in charge of keeping the project maintained, like that job doesn't go away. If anything, it probably gets a little harder, but it definitely doesn't go away. And even now with the stuff I'm doing, you're kind of seeing what I'm using AI for, and it's mostly because I'm lazy, right? It's like, oh man, I've got some math I need to figure out. Ugh. Now, I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but I know what it's doing, and I think anyone looking at this is it's pretty straightforward, right? It's just normalizing angles. But this is something I can just go back and look up later because I've done like I don't think we need a loop. I've done angle normalization before. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I've been doing this for so long that like half the stuff I've done in the past I just don't remember. And you also got to remember I'm not like a I don't just sit and code anymore. I am the guy that runs the project and makes sure files are where they need to be, design patterns are being adhered to, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm not doing the lower level coding as much as I used to. So I've gotten lazy. My cat is attacking my hand. Oh man. Um. Okay. So dang it, that's still not. What am I? It's still down in the bottom right. What am I doing wrong? This whole thing needs to be like shifted 90 degrees again.
Yeah, I've definitely made a lot of use of it learning a new language, but I also have the fundamentals down, right? I know how a computer works, right? I know what data structures are. I know my I know I won't say I know all my algorithms anymore, but like I remember the algorithmic complexities and things like that, right? So I recognize code smells, and I recognize code smells is because I've been code reviewing for 10 plus years, and I've been getting code reviewed the entire time as well, right? And so you get other people's insights and you get to share knowledge and get a better understanding of why you want to do something a certain way and why you might not want to do something a certain way. A good example would be like, why would you use a unique pointer over a shared pointer? Or why would you use a shared pointer over a unique pointer? AI might just spit a bunch of stuff out and it works, but maybe that's not the best way to do it, right? Or you think about C++. I don't know how many C++ heads are in here, but there's like there's a data structure called a vector, a dynamic array, an array that is on the heap maintained by this data structure and can like organically grow when you add more elements. Now it causes additional copies and all that fun stuff, but there like with modern C++, there is a correct way to pass this data structure around, right? And it's not by const ref like you might think. Const ref being like, hey, pass it into a function so it's unmodified, and a ref so you don't copy it. Well, are you storing the vector? If you're storing the vector, you should actually be passing by value. Why? Because then you enable your user to decide how they want to use that data, right? You can move that vector into a function because you had a parameter defined as by value. You enable copy elision, things like this, things like that. At least today, AI isn't quite there. It's probably going to get there. It seems like it's going to get there. It's probably going to become expensive, but it seems like it's going to get there. But you still need someone who has like the reins on a project to make sure it doesn't get out of control.
Buddy pitched an idea making a website for reviewing movies, series, etc. To work upon that idea, started learning coding. It feels good watching people like you code. Absolutely. And I'm not, even though I've been at this for a while, I'm not going to pretend I am well, okay, I might pretend. Or I might try and seem smarter than I actually am. I'm nothing special, right? I am just a bucket of experience. I have written code over and over and over and over and over for 40 hours a day. 40 hours a day, oh my God. 40 hours a week for 15 years straight. On top of that, also coding like this with except I didn't have an audience back in the day. I would literally do what I'm doing now, and I would just tinker. I would practice. Coding is practice. You get familiar with how to solve things. You get familiar with the language you're using, the functions you're using, and you go like, ooh, I got to remember that. That was a really slick way to solve that problem. Or you read an article and like, oh man, that is awesome, right? And so you just build up this bucket of experience and tools so that the next time you need to solve a problem, you go like, I remember how to do that. I'm going to do that, Oh yeah. Parameter passing in RVO. Yep. One of the coolest things about move is being able to pass a vector by value and then moving it into your function to store it. That's something I teach all my young developers whenever they start working for me with C++. It's like, oh, did you guys know that you don't pass a vector by const ref like they taught you in school? Or at least that's what they taught me in school. But when I learned C++, we didn't have move operations. All right. So my logic is working, but it's still 90 degrees off. So I need to make ring in degrees, ring start degrees. We modified angle and ray lib. Why did this not have like any impact? Did I compile it? SVC debug. Just gonna run it. No, it's still in the bottom right corner. This is where we subtract the offset. Oh, wait. So this is already in... Unless I'm adding the offset down here somewhere. Yeah, this is already in magnetic heading. Angle degrees is in magnetic heading. North is up. So this is trying to translate these angles into raylib. Oh, it's normalizing it to... It's not what I thought it was going to do. I wanted it to normalize... Like, I know what the answer needs to be. This needs to be 25 as an end angle and 35 as a start angle. Watch this. This algorithm isn't quite working like I expected. The ring start degrees need... Well, okay, so it's actually converting it into the raylib draw ring, which I don't like. That's hard to mentally follow. So that's probably where I'm getting hung up on. Yeah, I got to step through. I'm just trying to figure out mentally. Like, so this is I is 0. So I1 is going to get us our 30-degree angle. You guys are going to be my rubber duck. But angle and raylib, I wonder if it should be doing this, actually. Because if the angle is in raylib, we shouldn't be subtracting... So angle and raylib is negative 60. Okay, no, that makes sense. So on the 0 axis, we go back 60 degrees. That's the same as positive 30 degrees to the right. So that makes sense. This should make sense too, but this should just be 0 because the player isn't turning. Ooh. Are my assumptions wrong? Ooh, or was I turning? No, I wasn't turning. My assumptions might be wrong. This is why you speak aloud. Heading is 90. Why is heading 90? All right, well let's get this out of the way because it's still not working. I'll worry about that later. Heading is 90. So I might have an entirely different bug in my game right now that was causing me all these problems. So it's saying the player's heading is 90 even though it's pointing 0. So that's a whole different bug. Crap. Heading is 90. So where in the heck is that getting set? That is in the toml file. Heading is 90. And that is perfectly fine, but then my compass, my tick marks aren't getting rendered correctly. Because it should be pointing 90 degrees up. So this whole time... Oh, wait a minute. Did I not... I may have commented some stuff out while I was debugging, and that's why. Dude, hang on. Cat. Threw him out in the garage. I put in some toast, so I'm going to get up here in a second again. Make me some peanut butter toast. I am starving. All right, so the ticks are not getting rendered correctly. Heading is 90. We convert it to radians. Yes, it is. Thank you for noticing. I will say, the internet influencers got me on this one. I don't remember where I saw it. Actually, you know what? It might have been Linus Tech Tips. I think that's where I first saw this chair. Linus Tech Tips, because I think they did a review on it. I was like, oh, I need a chair. And so I got one. And it's fantastic. Probably one of the best chairs I've ever had. It's expensive as hell, but it's a really freaking good chair. Not sponsored. Okay. So I need put a breakpoint here. Because my tick marks are not getting rendered. Or my text. Oh my god. My text is incorrect. The tick marks are fine. They're just tick marks. They don't have, like, it doesn't even matter if there's an offset or not. It's my text. Right? It's a radius. What's cosine A? Angle rate. Well, tick label degrees. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I don't know if Logitech makes chairs or not. I need 90 degrees to be straight up. That's not what I was seeing. Am I blind? Is it actually rendering 90 degrees straight up? I don't, it's so hard for you guys to see right now. I could increase the font size, couldn't I? Where do I do that? I had no effect. This this project needs so much work. The downside to writing everything from scratch or mostly from scratch yourself is you have to deal with all this. Whereas if you used a game engine, it would just work. You just spend all your time learning the game engine instead. Oh, I heard my toast. I'll be right back. Okay. So if I is 0, this would create our label. Okay. So this is 0 degrees, but our player's heading is 90.
So do I need to be... That means I need to rotate all the marks, all the text, negative 90 degrees. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what's going on. Standard sine and cosine. It's 0 degrees on the x-axis, isn't it? I almost wonder if I just need to swap the sine and cosine function. Yep, that's the issue. I completely forgot about that. Man, one of the most confusing and easily bug-prone things in games, especially or simulations, especially if you're working in different coordinate systems, is trying to keep all of that tracked and working as expected. So I'm definitely going to have to write like some functions or something that I can share across the project to make sure everything is behaving as I expect it to. Swap the roles and flip Y. Okay. So this needs to be sine. This needs to be cosine. I'm choking on a toast crumb. Hey, and we got bigger text. Man, what is going on with my compilation? All right. Now it's just hiding on the... well, it's not really hiding at all. Okay. This makes more sense now. So the player was initialized with 90 degrees heading, so he's facing 90 degrees. 120.
All right, now we're getting somewhere. One bug down. So my struggles this whole time was mostly from the fact that sine and cosine work off of 0 degrees on the x-axis, and I completely forgot about that. This is exactly the behavior I was going for. Yeah, I'm with you there. Higher level program, like I'm not the biggest fan of Python, at least writing Python, just because of how non-typed it is, and it's harder to understand what's going on under the hood. Like I don't know what the sort is necessarily doing when you call sort, or I assume they're as performant as they can be, kind of thing, but you just don't know when you're writing it yourself. But there is something to be said about higher level languages, which, if you think about it, is AI eventually going to become so good that it effectively becomes the new higher level programming language, and that requires English. So now to learn how to program, you use English. But the thing to be said about higher level languages and why they exist in the first place is how quickly you can get something up and running and good enough out the door. A lot of businesses have found success by having something be good enough to start with, at least. This is awesome. This actually works. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to put I want to put some text in this corner, and I don't want that text to overlap with these numbers. So this is so cool. I'm so happy this works. It's always amazing to me how fast computers are. Like, I've got some, I mean, it's just math and graphics, but like I've got multiple draw calls happening, multiple loops happening. I'm running in debug, and I'm still rocking like 15,000 frames a second right now. It just, like, computers are so freaking fast, which, which is why a lot of times good enough is good enough. We go to school, we learn these algorithms, we do our leak code, we learn the most optimal solution that you can possibly learn. And then you actually start working, and it's like your boss is knocking on your door like, "Hey, what's taking you so long?" Well, I'm trying to analyze or profile to determine if my linear data structure is going to be better than my hash map or whatever, and then your boss goes, "What are you doing, dude? We got a product we need to lease. Get it done." And it's like, "Oh, all right. Well, then you just do it, right? You don't sit and stress about performance as much because computers are so freaking fast." That's obviously not true in all cases. I'm sure, like, where performance really matters, and you still got to pay attention, of course. All right, I'm getting hypnotized by my ring here. Okay, cool, awesome. Okay, so I got to get this. I got to clean this function up. This would not pass code review. Like, this should be a function. This almost certainly should be a function. If I'm going to be like flipping the use of sine and cosine like this, then this needs to be a function and have it documented so I don't forget why I'm doing it this way. I think I still have a bunch of hard-coded values. Like, if I'm running a project and I see a bunch of variables like this that are just like sitting around, that's tough. I'm going to start asking questions like, can these become dynamic? Can you make them configurable in some way? Unfortunately, I have a way to do that right now, so I'll probably add them to my UI type here. And when I do, that gets exposed to the TOML files. This is obviously hard-coded. That's going to have to change. This clearly should be a constant, which I think I already have. Did you know C++ has a constant for pi now, which is kind of cool, under numeric limits? But yeah, these can definitely become configurable. An enum for what? I'm always down to use enums versus like integer constants for sure, because they're more descriptive. Okay. I guess instead of like trying to figure out what to tackle next, let's just do top to bottom. First of all, this is saying if I have no entities, don't render the rings, and that's just not true. In fact, do I even need my game state to render? Oh, I see why it's doing it. Yeah, this is going to have to change at some point. I'm going to have to fix this. This is the whole other thing we're going to have to figure out. I need to implement a way. Well, I need a couple of things. I need a stable ID for my entities that I can serialize and deserialize from. And then I'm going to need a function to like find an entity based on its ID. And then I want to be able to like pass IDs around so I don't have to use, what are they called? Pointers. So that's its own bit of work. We have the center of the screen. This makes sense. Actually, does it? So I wonder if this could be something on the style as well. This would basically be like here, a way to position this thing. And it's just based on like a percentage of the maximum, or the, is it percentage? Percentage of of the width and height of the screen. We're almost getting to the point where I'm going to need a little bit more than TOML. I've been looking at Lua, potentially. I don't know enough about Lua and how to integrate it to be able to just like do it off the rip. So I might need to spend a night. I could do it live, kind of show you guys how I would go about learning a scripting language and integrating it.
but I've been considering Lua. But can't really do that right now. Does Python have serialization, deserialization? Is it similar to how it works in Java? I don't know how it works in Java, but Python is such a large ecosystem that almost certainly you can get access to any form of serialization you would need. I don't know anything about Roblox. I'm aware of Roblox. I'm aware people can mod it and have been able to sell add-ons or something. Oh, excuse me, or something like that. I assume that means Roblox uses Lua. Roblox was after my time. Center. All right, so this definitely needs to be a configurable thing. So this is let's go ahead and add this. This is UI render draw range rings, which I'm in. Oh, that's awkward. I immediately don't know where I defined. I'm also gonna have to fix my project organization some more, I think. UI type rings. I think I just give it a start. Let's see, float. Angle start. Float angle end. Give it the old angle start and angle end. And then in the draw range rings, I can just get rid of this and do, oh, there we go. Style.angle start, angle end. Honestly, that's not going to work long term because realistically, I need to size those gaps based on arc length so that they stay consistently the same distance no matter the radius. Okay. This should create a ring of nothing because I did not configure it. Oh, nice. You made money off of coding in Lua? That's awesome. I have not yet made any money off of a personal project. I've got one personal project that I think is really close to being out the door. With the major caveat. The base portion of it is really close to being out the door. The money portion of it, if you will, has a lot of work that still needs done. The portion that I want to make money off of. Okay, so this should, as expected, no rings, or it's all on 0, 0. So that makes sense. So then I come into my file here, and now I should be able to do angle start equals -55 and 295. And then run this again, and it totally worked. First try. All right. I think more work is needed on how my simple deserialization works. Where did I do with... Yeah, I've heard about kids making money on Roblox. It's impressive. Back in my day, when I was on AOL.com on dial-up, There was no hint of being able to, as a kid anyway. I didn't have access to that knowledge of being able to make money on anything I made. All right. I am about to go. So I've been trying something with this project, which is slowing me down a lot, which is I was trying to avoid doing like object oriented paradigms and just kind of do a bunch of structs and state and stuff. But one downside to that is I lose out on some polymorphism that I could make use of to make some quality of life improvements for extending the application and automating some of the stuff I would like to do. I am very close to swapping back to some polymorphism because I totally expected adding these fields to have worked and gave me the option to serialize its angle start, angle end, angle start, angle end on the range rings. It just got installed. I wonder if it's been failing to copy over my... Let me try and run it again. It's been failing to copy my files over. Okay, so that automatically worked. I just added a couple of fields to my struct and it automatically could be serialized, deserialized. So that's good. 300 degrees. Cool. All right. That's getting somewhere. Let's I need to stage some of these changes. File system, print line, all that looks good. That looks good. Happy with that. Semi-happy with that. Happy with that. Okay, so draw range rings needs work. Yeah, that's like... So while I have a lot of experience with C++ and polymorphism, it's mostly been in frameworks like, well, one framework was for a company that had already existed before I started writing it. And then I also have used a lot of Qt for desktop widgets and Qt Quick and QML. And a lot of those frameworks use polymorphism, right? And a lot of them use like a base object type that you derive from to handle like child-parent relationship style of things. So I have a lot of experience like dealing in frameworks like that. What I don't have a lot of experience in is not using polymorphism. So, right, like, can I make a project without using polymorphism, or not making it the central focus of the architecture, right? Like, I can still make use of polymorphism where it makes sense to, but not making it the be all end all of everything, right? That blows my mind. A virtual table lookup is too expensive, is crazy. I don't think I have ever had to worry about that level of performance. I don't think. I mean, I've done it for fun, right? Like, hey, what's the difference between like iterating over a bunch of stuff with and without a virtual table on the object? Like, that's fun, but I've never had to write code to do that. And I would say applications, desktop applications, that kind of thing. I mean, that's been my bread and butter for most of my career. So in like embedded systems, I've never had to worry about as much. I've done some little things here or there, mostly like talking to different interfaces, but I've never had to like sit down and like plan out how much memory I'm going to use and how I want to optimize my memory layout and things like that. Uh, I haven't needed to use Compiler Explorer, but I think it's one of the greatest tools ever made for C++. I tell my junior developers all the time to whenever I have them to check it out because it's a great tool to kind of like just show off some things, right? And be able to talk about it. So that's like I think one of the first things I bring up to my that I kind of walk people through with Compile Explorer. I don't know, see if I can do it on here. I mean, I don't know why I'm getting on here. I literally have VS Code open. Let's see here. So if I do a struct, my struct, can vertical people see this? Not really. I'm gonna narrow this up a little bit for the vertical people. All right. So if I have something like my struct, and I have a main function, something like this. Let's also include, ooh, do I have access to, I assume I have access to 23. Do I need to set a flag for this? Or no, this is GC 16.1. Doesn't it default to 20 now? Standard print line size is, and then I do like size of my struct, right? Or you know what? Let's just make it a class because I want to extend this. Oops. Okay, does that compile or do I need to set C++ 23 flag? Okay, so how do I set a flag in Compiler Explorer? Is it right here? What is it? Like, oh God, is it? It's not this, right? Dang it. I don't remember what it is. Stand by. I'm just gonna look it up. GCC enable C++ 23. No, that should work. Standard equal C++ 23. Why is that not working? Include print. Output. Oh no. You guys didn't see that. All right. Do I actually get to see the output? Because the output's what I actually care about. Can I drag this? All right. Oh. All right. Failed experiment. We're doing this. We're doing this local. All right. So everyone knows what the size of a class is, right?
I actually don't remember. It's either 1 byte or it might be 0 now. I think it used to be 1, but with the new language standard, I think they did something to fix that. Nope. Okay, so it's size 1. Can we see that? Size 1. I might be able to zoom in a little more. There we go. Right? So a class is 1 byte, even though it's not storing anything, but that's fine, right? So then, and this is what I would use Compile Explorer for with junior devs. I'll be like, hey, if you're ever just curious and you want to like play around with like the size or the layout of your objects, you can do this in Compile Explorer. And I think with newer versions of Visual Studio, I think Visual Studio also can now show like memory layout of your objects, that kind of thing. So then, let's say you give your object an integer. What's the size of your struct? It should be like what, 4 bytes, something like that? Whatever the size of an integer is. 4 bytes. Pretty straightforward, right? So now let's add a Boolean. Pretty straightforward. Everyone knows what the size of a Boolean is, right? 1 bit. Ooh, no, not 1 bit. You can't address 1 bit. It's 1 byte, or it's at least 1 byte. And it's technically, I think it's implementation defined, but most compilers and architectures I've ever worked for, it's always been like 1 byte. Oh, wait a minute. Why? I thought it was only 1 byte. What's going on there? Right? So this is one of those things where I challenge my less experienced coworkers, if you will. Like, hey, what's going on here? If an integer is 4 bytes and a Boolean is 1 byte, then why in the world is my class 8 bytes? And yeah, it's padding. It's that memory alignment, right? You want to make this word friendly, if you will. That's why we do all the padding. Yeah, so when the class is empty, it's still 1 byte. Now, I don't remember why. There's a reason for this, but I also think, or I thought in newer C++ they were like going to change this, but maybe I was wrong, or maybe I read something incorrectly, right? Okay. So then I'm going to add another Boolean, right? So if I have 4 bytes and adding a Boolean is 8 bytes, what does adding another Boolean do to my project? Wait, it's still 8 bytes. What in the world? Oh, but then what if I put a Boolean before the integer? What's the size of my class now? 12 bytes? What in the hell's going on? Right? It's because of that memory alignment. So it turns out, if you care about memory, and if you care about keeping things tightly packed, you need to pay attention to how the order you declare your member variables, right? Now, one thing I just read recently, and I would need someone else to confirm if this is true, but I think I read that Rust automatically does this for you. That sounds interesting. I don't know anything about it, but yeah. So that's why, like on the teams that I've worked for, or at least the teams that I have led, I've always said as just a good default is always declare your member variables from like large to small. Now, it won't always get you the most tightly packed memory layout, but if you're ever stressing about like where to put things, I just say don't stress and just do large to small.
or do it based on whatever you need to have initialized first, you know, that kind of thing. So back to this example, we have a struct or a class that is 4 bytes. And I want to derive from it, right? What's the size of my derived struct? Should be 4 bytes, right? 4 bytes. And then I'm like, hey, there's a bug here. What's going on? And that's where I'm like really testing you. And actually, this sometimes turns into an interview, right? Like, hey, there's a bug here. What's going on? Oh, wait a minute. I didn't define a virtual destructor. So if I ever allocate a derived struct and like keep track of it as its base pointer, and then I go to delete that base pointer, well, then my derived struct never gets destroyed. So we give this guy a default. That way we make sure we're good. Oh, helps if I... Oh, this is funny. I have a lot of compiler flags turned on to make sure I write good C++, so it's going to call me out when I try and trick you guys by not like writing some stuff. So I'll go ahead and put this in. So here what you want to do is set it to default. And we should probably make this public. There we go. All right. So now these guys were 4 bytes each, right? So now what's the size of them? 16 bytes. So when I forget who mentioned the virtual table. Where are you? Someone mentioned it. We went from 4 bytes to 16 bytes for our derived types because of that virtual table. That virtual table is a pointer. It's literally like if you ever like as you're like stepping through code and you really step into the code, all a virtual table is a pointer to another location in memory, and it points to like all the memory addresses of your member variables and functions, right? So having that pointer on a 64-bit machine is 8 bytes. So you immediately, by having a virtual class, you've added 8 bytes to your object. Now, in the grand scheme of things, like how much is 8 bytes really going to affect you if you're on a multi-gigabyte RAM computer? But on an embedded system where maybe you only have a few megabytes or a few kilobytes, then yeah, I totally get it. That becomes an issue. So yeah, these are little things like this where I want to really try and understand what the C++ compiler is trying to do. I'll play around with this in Compile Explorer. And it's just kind of cool to be able to hop on a website and start doodling and get, you know, results like this. All right. Let's transform back to a little bit more space. Oh yes. Gotta have that virtual destructor to so it knows what to call. If we want to keep talking about the virtual destructor, then we start having conversations about the rule of 5, and then I get a YouTube short that blows up out of nowhere. That sucker is almost at 500,000 views. It just blows my mind.
Okay. So stepping through this, I want to make more of this heading 0 offset degrees. Okay, this needs to become a function. I got to figure out how I want to remember to bounce between coordinate systems. What do you call the coordinate system where 0 degrees is along the x-axis? Is that literally just Cartesian? Like, does that have a name? A compiler that supports print line is, I think, C++ 23. So I have GCC 15, Clang 22, visuals. Actually, I don't. Maybe an older version of Clang supports it as well. I have Visual Studio 22 and 26 on this computer. I have a Docker file that installs these compilers for me when I run it in WSL. So I'm using, for Linux, I'm using Ubuntu 25.10. And I'm just installing GCC 15. And because it's Ubuntu, you got to do update alternatives. And then for Clang, I'm doing the same thing. I'm installing Clang 22, update alternatives. Yeah, Cartesian's the XY grid. I just like, what do you call, because what I need is a function to convert from one system to another. So I basically need to do like, it's not Cartesian, but I need a function that's like auto Cartesian to magnetic north. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Magnetic north. So I need like, I don't know what you call it though when 0 degrees is on the x-axis. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Is it just called math? Math to magnetic north. What is the coordinate frame called when 0 degrees is on the x-axis? I don't even know if I'm asking the right question to get this answer. But I feel like it's polar. Is it just polar? Does the polar system mean 0 is along the x-axis? Coordinate frame system where 0 degrees is on the positive x-axis is commonly called polar coordinate system. So maybe that's what I need. Polar to magnetic north. Float. Is that right? Convert from polar 0 degrees, right? Now, this is what I really like about AI. I don't know about you guys, but I have worked for companies where they expect you to like document all of your functions, which fair. Some functions are a little redundant to document because the names are pretty well written. But being able to just go like bloop, documented, boom. Oh wait, I need to document the parameter. Bloop. Oh, and a return type. Oh, this is easy. Oh wait, I forgot no discard. Oh wait, it's trying to write. It's trying to implement my normalize function. I mean, I guess I'll let it. See, I knew there was a non-wrap way to do it. I think I can do this const expr now. I feel like I've done const expr normalize. Man, do I have that written down somewhere? I've done this before. Oh wait, is fmod const expert now? I know they were working on getting the cmath functions const expert. Starting with C++ 23 and continuing through 26, the standard library is finally adding const expert support for many of the cmath functions. Let's go. Yes, I have used Doxygen in the past. I am currently not using it for my project here, but it is a style of form of comments that I'm familiar with and used to, that I continue to use it that way. This is going to need a test for sure. Let's make sure we include CMath. Is this okay? This will always guarantee it's between 0 and 360. I might be okay with that. Definitely going to need a test for math, especially when I don't remember half of the math I've learned over the years. Doesn't like something. What did I do wrong? Cannot result in a constant expression. Ooh, is fmod not const expert? Oh, that's awkward. Oh my god, I swear I've done this before. I'm gonna check my GitHub. Maybe I have something, or actually, if it's anywhere, it's in my GitLab. If I was a const expert math function, where would I be hiding? Nope, not in there. Yeah, it's I'm still getting used to it. It's called trailing return types. Clang Tidy actually enforces it by default, I think. So I have like, oh, this Clang Tidy looks different than what I'm. Yeah. So for my Clang Tidy, I have like the diagnostics, the analyzer, bug prone, certs that checks for like security errors, CPP core guidelines, of course. If you're not using CPP core guidelines, at least be aware of it. Miscellaneous stuff, modernize. So the modernize checks, I think, also enforces returning trailing return types. So I'm getting the hang of it. I've started to use it professionally this year. Up until this point, though, I hadn't been. This kills me. I want this to be const expert so bad. Is there a way to make this function const expr? Please don't revert back to the loops. It's just doing some casting tricks. So you take angle in degrees, angle in full, cast it. So if it's less than 360, that gives you 0. Oh, remainder. Right. That's the F mod. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to test this. We'll use AI to test AI's code and see if AI thinks it's right. I think is what I'll do. This is comparing floating points against 0 is scary. We got to be careful about that. I'm not going to worry about it now, but I'll make a mental note and then forget about it. And then when it comes back and bites me, then I'll remember. All right. All right. Except this isn't called math test. I just want it to be called math. Oh my god, why is it just keeps going? Stop. All right. Let's see. Since you have Docker, do you just compile and test inside the container? I can, yeah. And I can even show you. Give me 1 sec. So right now I'm on Windows. So whenever I'm compiling, I am using MSVC compiler, which is CL, which I've defined in my CMake preset. So I have these different compilers I support. CL. But in Docker, I can use every single other compiler that I want. Okay, so that compiled. Let's see if the test runs and passes. Look at that. The test pass. Click to run test, right click. Oh, I can run the test from VS Code? What? How does it know? Yeah, I totally did that on purpose. Anyway, so with Docker, I just click on the bottom left corner in VS Code. I reopen in a container just whenever I feel like it. Now, I will, with a caveat, I always say this caveat, so some of you have already heard this. I'm using WSL as my Linux backend right now. And when you write files from WSL to Windows, it's no different than if you were in a virtual machine like VMware and are writing from your virtual machine to your desktop. It takes longer. So because of that, I'm running Docker inside WSL on Windows. So the IO, the disk IO is a little slow. But anyway, I can come in here. Now that I'm in the container, I already have Clang selected, so we'll compile and see if there are any Linux compiler errors. Okay, configured. Some of the stuff's compiling. That's good. But yeah, as you can see, like there's definitely a speed difference here, right? Now, if I was like running on Linux directly, then it would be really quick. Okay, so that compiled. Now, here's what's really cool. You ready for this? Please work. Don't let me say that and then it not work. That's Linux. Those graphics you're seeing right now, that's Linux graphics. Running in a container in WSL on Windows. Now you see it has like a weird border to it. So the way, as I understand it, the way this is possible is Windows is essentially doing a remote desktop into the Linux environment in order to display the graphics using X11. And then, if I want, I don't have to just compile for Linux. I can compile for the web browser by going to Emscripten. And so this, with the caveat that I just wrote and changed a bunch of codes, so there might be compiler errors. But this will compile the code as WebAssembly. And then I should be able to launch the game in a browser. Should being the operative word. I do have to hit configure first. I forgot about that. Configure. Or I might have to bootstrap my package manager. I forget. Okay, it configured. Let's compile it. It's compiling. Compiling without any warnings showing is the greatest feeling in the world. Oh, we got a compiler error. Oh, I was worried about this. Oh, I guess I needed to fix this anyway. It can't find my file because it doesn't exist at this directory anymore. It exists at /config, I think. Oh man, I don't know how this works. Do I just do... Maybe I don't even need this anymore. I'm going to try it without it. See what happens. I have to, we have to load the configuration files for the browser. Well, this works out. I'm going to make sure everything compiles for my different platforms, and then I think I'm going to call it a night because it is way past my bedtime. Whew, it is thinking about it. I unfortunately, as you can see here, I support Clang format and I support building my game. I don't really have a way to do test coverage, so unfortunately, it doesn't exist. Do I have a script ready to use it to generate test coverage? Maybe. But am I using it? Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm actually not sure if this is going to work because I don't know if I set up the configuration correctly for the browser. So we're going to test it, see what happens. So I come into my installed directory, show preview. See, sometimes I really like programming. I don't think the controller... Okay, yeah. So the thumbstick works, but my gas pedal, if you will, is not getting picked up. So I don't know what's going on there. That could be the WebAssembly. That could be the fact that I'm in a Docker container. I'm not sure. There's probably like I probably have to expose some kind of like hardware port or something like that through the Docker container to access it. What's the last step? The Android, right? So I can also compile for Android. All of this is built into my Docker file in order to do that. And then I use that same exact Docker file when I push my code up into GitHub to build all of these different targets. Yeah, this one, okay, yeah, I haven't compiled for Android in a second. So this one I'm not 100% confident in because I don't know if I do Android in my GitHub. Oh, I got a Linux build failing. Oh no, I do have an Android build going. But those are all the different platforms I currently am building for. Why? It's fun. No other reason. I don't think I'm actually making anything at the moment that's going to target all those platforms at once. It's just a manner of could I do it? Yep. I could do it. And that's how I learn. Okay, yeah, I haven't built an Android in a minute, so this is gonna have to sit here and build all the dependencies that my project uses. So I'll do that later. I don't have enough time to sit here and do this. You guys are gonna watch me fall asleep if that happens. Okay, so math testing. I got some math testing done. The main goal of tonight really was to just tinker with my range rings to see if I can get a tick mark to disappear into that gap because I'm going to be putting an actual value in that gap for the range rings. Build before you go to bed. That's what I need when I wanted to build. That's fair. Yes, I use Google Test for testing. I have almost always have used Google Test. I've been using Google Test for nearly 15 years, I think. It is such a great framework. And as you saw earlier, it integrated pretty well with my VS Code. And it integrates with CMake as well. Because with Google Test and CMake, the C test stuff, you can just come in here, hit run tests, and it will run all your tests. And then they show up here as output.
All right, guys. I think that is it for this evening. I really appreciate you guys coming by. This was kind of an impromptu. I ended up going to see Sheep Detectives, so I wasn't actually planning on streaming tonight. But then I got home and I was like, I got a couple hours to kill. I wanted to get a little bit of progress done. I've still got a lot more cleanup and organization to do with how I want to like add files. I want to get that figured out. I probably will be on at some point tomorrow, not too late. I know a number of you are overseas in a different time zone, so I may or may not see you then. But until next time,